Hey, it's Mac, and if you're wondering where I've been, well, I have been at the gym and I have been writing books. I wrote an article that I want to read. Um, you can find it on Medium. The title of the article is Cade Hudson controls the public's perception of Britney Spears and he doesn't want you to know about it. This isn't an article explaining that with hundreds of millions, if not billions, missing from Britney's bank accounts, people should have gone to federal prison. But in our hearts, don't we already know that? Now, this is an article about the Instagram account that both saved Britney and continues to ruin her life. Britney's Instagram account first drew the attention of the public back in 2019. That's when the speculation about the conservatorship gained national, if not global, attention, as Britney's behavior and appearance was deemed different than it had been. The conservatorship team outwardly said she controlled the content, but that seems highly unlikely given the level of control maintained over Britney during the conservatorship by Jamie Spears, Lou Taylor, and Robin Greenhill. Eyewitnesses say this, not me. I wasn't there. They reportedly exercised this level of control, refusing to let her see her costumes, controlling what she ate, who she saw, withheld access to a phone to call for help, slut shaming her by telling her dates or sexual history, forcing her to have an IUD, stalking the men she dated, withholding visitation with her sons unless she worked, not letting her just go for a walk on her own property, and the list goes on and on. It's been reported that Jamie justified his treatment of Britney by saying she was essentially a child. But one, children don't work nonstop for 12 years and earn billions of dollars. Two, if you treated a child this way, you'd go to prison, Jamie. It seems highly unlikely that a group of people maintaining a microscopic level of control, and they've never denied they did these things. They just say it was justified, and the court approved it. These same people would somehow allow Britney creative control over her Instagram. Like she couldn't decide on costume design or choreography, all of which she said humiliated her. And girl, I agree. But she was in charge of the IG content. When the conservatorship ended, I thought, great. No more crappy dancing. We'll get to see the old Britney again. She said she wanted to give an interview. We'll get to hear from her, the whole story. She might even call out her missing money and ask why no one went to prison. That didn't happen. Instead, her lawyer convinced her to pay the legal fees of a father who does not deny abusing her and who also reportedly broke the law. Brittany, for her part, spoke up in those first couple of years after the end of the conservatorship. She tried to convey, in her own words, that the conservatorship was a setup. The idea originated with Lou Taylor, and Lynn Spears helped to make it possible. How did Lynn help make it possible? I'm so glad you asked. Let me tell you what Lynn and Jamie Spears did. Jamie told the media that Brittany was a sick little girl, and Lynn is reported to have drugged Brittany in order to kidnap her and force her into Promises rehab. Allie Sims, who is in fact a relative, contrary to what Lynn and Jamie Lynn tell people, she is the granddaughter of Jamie's stepmother, and she was also the eyewitness to that event. According to court documentation, Mima and Papa also arranged for Kevin to hold the kids over Brittany's head and force her into a second rehab stay for 30 days. Brittany wanted them charged with extortion, which is a felony. The crazy part here is that Brittany wasn't doing drugs. Want proof? Well, there was a custody evaluation from April 2008 in which the court indicates Brittany was passing drug tests, random drug tests, the kind you don't know are coming and have to get your ass home to take with 30 minutes notice. Here's what the court monitor said about Brittany's parenting to the New Yorker in 2021. Robin Johnson, the court ordered monitor who saw Spears 4 times a week. Why did she see Brittany 4 times a week? Because she was there monitoring the interaction, the visitation that Brittany had with her sons. She said none of this was her fault. She went on, there were so many people involved in her life that caused all of this craziness with her. I don't have anything derogatory to say about her. It was probably one of the saddest cases that I've ever done in my entire life. Here are the actual facts from 2007. Britney Spears passed random drug tests, and Britney was worth a lot of money. No one wants to own who called for the first psychiatric hold, but eyewitness accounts point to Kevin and his team doing it. Kevin wrote in his book that Britney was taken in a straitjacket when he was in a 60 Minutes Australia episode where they played the footage and showed she was actually dressed to go out for the evening and not wearing a straitjacket. Kevin, this matters for later. Well, so Lynn wrote in her book exactly how the second psychiatric hold was engineered. She blamed Sam Lufty, who ended up suing her for slander and defamation. He won. Her book was pulled. It stands to reason that Sam's version of events, Jamie and Lynn engineering the second psychiatric hold so they could establish the conservatorship, is likely true. Why do I think that? Because Lynn wrote in her book that Jamie and Lou Taylor had been planning the conservatorship for 6 weeks, but Jamie says this is how it came about. When Britney was hospitalized at UCLA, one of Mr. Spears' best friends, who was an attorney, came up with the conservator idea. The conservatorship was granted on a Friday morning when Britney was still in the hospital. Mr. Spears said the conservatorship is due to expire, blah, 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 of the person, but not of her finances. And now we also have emails between Lou Taylor and Geraldine Weil talking about this impending second psychiatric hold. So when Lynn said that it was Sam who planned the whole thing, clearly that was not true. And if nothing bad was about to happen or did happen, then why would we have conflicting accounts? In 2004, Britney took home over $50 million for the perfume sales. And that was just for curious. That number doesn't include all the money she'd earned up until that point from album sales, touring merchandise, and so many other things that she was making money from at the time. There's an article out there in the Webverse that says Britney offered Kevin $25 million to let her have primary custody, and he said no because he thought he could get more. Do I think this is true? I do. I think that Kevin wanted more than what was offered because Britney might have been worth more like $250 million in 2007. People magazine said Britney was worth $100 million in 2008, but I think they were wrong. That article was scrubbed after I mentioned it in a podcast that I did years ago. Jamie has been allowed to claim Britney was broke at the time the conservatorship was established. However, he did so without proof, and his claim was unchallenged. The court stripped Britney of the right to challenge anything Kevin, Jamie, and Lynn said about her. And what's disturbing about that is that they would all go to live off her. Like they would end up needing her to survive financially. And they did all of this without her consent. Another fact is that Kevin Federline refused to be drug tested in 07, 08. In 2025, he would confirm that he was doing drugs. He was partying excessively. He points to his manager covering these things up at the time. This will matter too. My opinion of 2007 matches what a private investigator would tell Investigation Discovery. Britney was targeted by a team of people because she was worth a lot of money. A narrative was fed by this team to the tabloids to shape public perception. In an interview with Meredith Vieira, Lou Taylor says that she's part of a team working to help Britney. I believe these teams, quote unquote, are one and the same. For the record, whatever Britney's mental state is today, I believe it's the end result of the horrific abuse she has endured at the hands of her parents, Kevin Federline, the managers involved, and the media. She is a human trafficking survivor that has been treated like the villain and held to an impossible standard, even for an untraumatized person. In Britney's post-conservatorship life, the venting on IG has tapered off. One day she posted that someone had told her that if she sued Lou Taylor, she'd have to sit for a deposition. She said she'd never be trapped again like she was during those 4.5 months in hell. And that is when it became clear that someone had convinced Britney to no longer fight for herself and to give up on justice completely. It's also when anyone stopped publicly defending her. Cade Hudson refers to himself as Britney's, quote, best friend and, quote, manager. Unlike Team Khan, who was careful to remain off the record and be referred to as sources during the conservatorship years, Cade has made himself publicly known for impersonating Britney on stage and at parties. I've seen video of him at a very large party where he proceeds to sing Baby One More Time to the pleasure and accolades of the people around him. He basks in the attention of impersonating a woman whose father stole her identity for almost 14 years. This is unsettling, to say the very least. A friend of Sam Asghari's posted on YouTube a video saying that Cade sells stories about Britney to TMZ. This person received a cease and desist letter immediately. Mariah Carey's ex-assistant said the same thing about Cade and was also given an immediate cease and desist. But Kevin Federline publishes a book with slanderous allegations about Britney, goes on a media tour and says horrific things, and this is the response from Cade. With news from Kevin's book breaking once again, he and others are profiting off her. A rep for the pop Princess of Pop told Page Six in a statement. Sadly, it comes after child support has ended with Kevin, the rep noted. This statement does not deny the serious allegations that Britney abused her children. Instead, it implies that these allegations are true and Kevin is just making a buck again. There's no pointing out that Kevin's book is a confession, that he was actually doing what he accused Britney of. No pointing to the fact that in court documents, Kevin very clearly says he never saw Britney do drugs, which means his stories in the book are a lie. And here's what the court document said. Kevin said that when he and Britney were married, he never personally saw Britney do drugs. He said Britney told him she did coke once or twice. Kevin said if drugs were a problem, he thinks he, quote, would have seen it, quote, even the alcohol. He said it was not every day. However, Kevin said Britney always wanted to go out all the time. What's craziest about Kevin's allegations of abuse against Britney is that Jamie's justification for the conservatorship was that he would be there to protect the kids. And again, there was a court monitor who was supposed to provide oversight, and nannies were almost always on hand when the kids were young. Britney was not alone with these children. And if Kevin was so concerned for his children's safety, why didn't he rush to family court every time something happened involving Britney, just like he did in the pre-conservatorship year? Why? 2007, he had her constantly in court. She wasn't failing drug tests, she wasn't hurting the kids, and there was no threat to their safety. She was, like, late for visitation one time, and he took her to court. She missed a flight coming back from, like, Miami or something, and he took her to court over that. But you're saying that she's poisoning the kids with shellfish, which I find it super weird to this day that he didn't say what kind of shellfish, and that's why I think it was crawfish, and I think it was Jamie. Um, you're telling me that you could take her to court when she missed a flight and was late for visitation, but you did nothing when she supposedly poisoned these kids? And where was Jamie? It's also worth noting that no one actually knows how much Jamie paid Kevin during the conservatorship because he was reportedly known to pay him outside of family court. Kevin's book could have been challenged before distribution by hiring a lawyer and using the custody evaluation to dispute what was being said. Celebrities do this all the time, and managers regularly defend and advocate for their clients. Instead of taking any steps to counter Kevin's claims, when clearly there are PR firms in existence who could have exposed Kevin in every corner of the internet. Cade allowed Britney to once again be labeled a mentally ill, drug addicted, unstable, and unfit mother without proof and without challenge. Even if Cade weren't her manager, he calls himself her best friend. What kind of best friend doesn't protect you with the resources they have? What kind of manager doesn't protect their client? Even Kevin's did. And he writes in his book about how Dan, my manager, was one of the constants, and how he went out and he protected Kevin while Kevin was doing drugs and partying excessively. Oh, you know, the things that he accused Britney of doing. People wonder why Britney's fans defend her. The answer is simple. The people being paid to protect her are openly refusing to do their job. Her arrest is a prime example. No audio recording of the alleged tip has been produced. No drug test results were entered into the record for the public to see. And Cade Hudson, who was the first person to publicly vilify Britney Spears before any actual evidence of wrongdoing was made public. No other manager in the entertainment industry would issue a statement like this. The one that he put out. They wouldn't dare because he would be out of a job. And the sad truth is that one of his other clients is Tiffany Haddish, who has been arrested twice for DUIs. Do you think that he would put out a statement vilifying her and calling the actions inexcusable? She hasn't even resolved the second one. No, he wouldn't. And then there's the Instagram account. During Kevin's media tour to promote his bullshit, he pointed to the Instagram as proof that Britney is mentally ill. He also declared with complete confidence Britney would not be suing him over what he wrote. It's almost as if someone on the inside assured him in advance Britney wouldn't sue because she's had the shit scared out of her. It's not just Kevin who points to the IG as proof of Britney's mental health. It's Billy Bush, it's TMZ, it's Page 6. Billy Bush says all kinds of interesting things about Britney. He says he's good friends with Cade Hudson, and then he claims that a source told him that Britney struggled the entire conservatorship with an addiction to Adderall. Hence, Daddy needed to own her. To clarify, Billy is not a journalist. He used to be pretty. He used to belong to a rich political family with clout. Now he's just a guy with a microphone repeating lies about Britney Spears and making it seem like Cade Hudson fed him the lies. So here's the picture in the article. Netflix doc alleges Britney Spears medication was increased during performances. And it says, on one hand, Jamie and the team valued the benefits of stimulants for Britney's performance. Jamie, this is like Lynn drugging Britney to kidnap her to take her to drug rehab. Jamie gave Britney Adderall so she could be conscious enough to earn him and Lou Taylor money. But Britney is the addict that can't help herself. When will any of this make sense? So again, it is verifiably false that Britney struggled with Adderall during the conservatorship. What's true and stated as a matter of court record is that Jamie Spears gave his daughter Adderall throughout the conservatorship in order to ensure that she would have enough energy to perform, because the lithium he got a sports medicine doctor to prescribe was making her lethargic. So Cade's like sanitized PR line about Britney's IG content, never mind it's ruining her relationships and her reputation, is that it's her art, it's her therapy. So here's the problem. That's their go-to line for why nobody intervenes with Britney's IG content. That's what they say. And by they, I mean that's what Cade Hudson says. I believe that's what Crowdsurf says, and that is what Sam Asghari said. They couldn't really get in an interview with Sam Asghari after the marriage was over. They couldn't really get him to say much, but the one thing that he said was that the content on IG was her art, and he didn't want to interfere with it, which is exactly what Cade said to this, social media commentator who's also not a journalist. A journalist would be doing research and would want to point to facts and not just some person's opinion. And when they say sources, what that really means, according to Perez Hilton, is that it's the person's team and they just don't want to go on the record. So more often than not, I think when you see an article about Britney and sources are being quoted, I believe that to be Cade Hudson. That's my opinion. It seems to me that it's a PR talking point. So they have had public relations coaching. They have coordinated their messaging. So if nothing bad is going on here with Britney's Instagram account, why do you need to coordinate your message on it? And Blind Items is saying that Cade Hudson has access to the Instagram account and that he's the one that promoted that comedian, that comedy show, and that they're supposedly one of his clients. And that's when he jumped online, was like, I didn't do it. She asked her team to post it. But he probably shouldn't have done that, because he just confirmed to everybody that she is not posting that content. And that's important. We're going to talk about why in a second. For Britney and her part, she's indicated that she was given some kind of quota to make videos. She's called making them work, and she's asked why they're blurry. And then that caption gets deleted. So posting the same photos of a cameo and flowers over and over again is not art. It's not therapy. Her dance videos are also uploaded, taken down, and then re-uploaded within 24 hours or a few days later. Britney is not doing that. Cade Hudson has confirmed she's not doing that. But the repetition of that action makes it seem as though someone who doesn't know what they're doing is. And then the assumption, of course, is always that it's Britney. Britney's dancing videos over the last couple of years have developed a very distinct editing pattern. They often begin with her already in motion. Sections of movement are looped and heavy filters are applied that blur or smear her makeup. If you compare the Instagram content with her YouTube videos, there's a very noticeable difference in the editing. Likewise, if you compare the video Britney posted with the Kardashians, which came immediately after fans criticized them for posting a party photo with Lou Taylor, to the version Cade provided to the media outlets, the differences in editing become even more apparent. What's being done to Britney's content on Instagram appears intentional. Not only does it make her seem frenetic and unwell, and I'm telling you, she doesn't have the skill set to do what's being done to those videos. So I posted with this article a video of her in the red dress, and there is 1 second of time that is being isolated and then repeated 2 more times after that. So it's successive. And then it goes on into something else, and then it shows her walking up to the camera and tipping her head back and showing her teeth. Now, that second didn't need to be left in there, but the value of leaving that second in there is that it shows that her teeth are crooked. And because her teeth look that way, people online will call her a meth head, and then they call her Methany. So if you want people to think she's addicted to drugs, you leave that second in. If you are a social media team working to the benefit of their client, because that's your whole purpose in being there, is to make her look better than she actually is. That's what a social media team does. If you are working against them, you leave in that second. If you are working for them, you take it out. But that is not what's happening here. So everything with the Instagram account, including like yesterday, I noticed like they took down the dancing video from like 2 or 3 days ago and then posted it back up again on July 4th. I think it's being scheduled. I can't prove it, but I strongly suspect that what CrowdSurf has done here is that they have put a schedule into place to take down videos and then repost them to reinforce this idea that somebody doesn't know what they're doing and therefore it must be Britney. They don't do that for anybody else. And that has nothing to do with art, has nothing to do with therapy, now does it? So, I mean, not only do her videos make her seem frenetic and unwell, but her account is also not managed with the same level of care and attention given to the social media presence of virtually every other celebrity in the industry. There's no branded content. There's no cross promotion. Can't even get her websites updated. Right now, Britney's company is running a merchandise promotion, but you wouldn't know that based on her Instagram account or her websites. They've outsourced it to social media influencers. They're doing the promotion for the work for the promotion. Let's pretend Britney is okay with all this editing. Why does she have a social media company making thousands off her if they aren't doing what they're doing for their other clients, namely producing well-branded promotional content? As her manager, it's Cade's responsibility to oversee her business and her public image. Not only has he failed to improve it, but at times he has made public perception even worse. And while he turns to influencers to publish puff pieces and defend him, it's clear how much control he has over Britney's image. If he's her friend, would truly hate to meet her enemies. And that's it, guys. I don't know if I'll be back. This was important. This was important. This is the point where we stand up. We stand up and we say no more abuse. No more. Something needs to change, and it needs to change now.